7 years of marriage, and the one thing his wife loves saying to him most is, "Get out of my house." She knows he has absolutely no one else in this city. Even when she plays around, she knows he won't dare mention divorce. But after the 8th time she gets way too close with her assistant, she points at the door. If you cannot stand it, then leave. But this time, he is done compromising. He silently packs his bags, but crazy glowing texts start floating in his vision, calling him brother. The comments tell him not to be rash. She is just stubborn.
They say she actually cares deeply, and if he just turns around to look at her,
she will burst into tears. Reading this, his hands freeze over his half-packed suitcase. Suddenly, the door clicks open. His wife, Liu Ruyan, stands there and calls his name. But the moment she spots the packed suitcase on the floor, her voice cuts off completely. She glares up at him, letting out a sharp, cold sneer. So you actually have a spine this time. Pack up and get out. Do not ruin my sleep. He flinches, but refuses to look back. He just packs faster. Meanwhile, the glowing, floating text flashes in front of his eyes again. Just look back once, brother. She is literally on the verge of tears right now. If our main character turns around, she will definitely run over, hug him, and kiss him. The comments guarantee a wild, romantic reunion, claiming her actual inner thoughts are begging him not to leave. Staring at those floating lines of text, he feels a heavy weight crushing his chest. From dating to marriage, she has pushed him away more times than he can count. Yet he always came crawling back, clinging to her like some pathetic shadow. He lived like this for 7 long years. He still remembers one brutal fight. She mocked him back then, demanding if Pei Wenqing even knew how to spell self-respect.
But she did not get it. When you love someone that much, self-respect goes out the window.
Right now, he is just too exhausted to care. He snaps the suitcase shut, zips it up, pulls up the handle, and stands tall. He walks right past Liu Ruyan, opens the front door, and strides downstairs without looking back. As he heads downstairs, the screen comments go wild, saying brother is actually furious this time. If she does not go after him now, it is over. Why is she just standing on the balcony? He is about to walk out of the community gates, and honestly, he is so tempted to look back. Suddenly, his phone rings. Seeing her name on the screen makes his heart skip a beat. He still picks up, unable to stop himself. Her voice on the other end is freezing. She coldly asks if he still wants that ceramic doll on the headboard. If not, I am throwing it out. Those words stab him in the chest. It hurts so bad he can barely breathe. That ornament is not just some random trash. In reality, it is a precious pair of ceramic dolls they handmade together on their very first date. They even carved their initials right into the clay base with their own hands. She was the one who insisted on drawing a heart around their names back then. No matter how bad their fights got over the years, she never touched those dolls. But now, she is talking about tossing them like they mean absolutely nothing to her. The glowing text flashes across his vision again, trying to explain. They claim she is only asking because she is terrified he is really leaving her behind. They say a twisted, defensive person just needs an unshakable partner, and she is just trying to confirm he will stay. Staring at the floating words, he forces a shaky, trembling reply from his throat. Just throw it away. Without another word, she immediately hangs up. Right after hanging up the phone, Pei drags his suitcase and walks out. He pays a premium to an agent to find a place within 3 hours. By the time he settles in, it is midnight. He lies in bed, completely lost. For the first time in 7 years, he spends the night without her. Walking into the office the next day, our main character is completely out of it. He gets to his desk and spots a Starbucks Americano waiting for him. Just as he turns to ask around, Ruyan walks in with her assistant. Gu Huaizhou is wearing this massive, smug smile. He loudly announces it is his birthday and their director paid for everyone. There will even be desserts later. Talk about rubbing it in. Ruyan paid for it. This is wild. Instantly, everyone in the room stares at Pei, his hands clenched tightly. His nails dig deep into his palms, but he calmly picks up the cup. Under Gu's surprised gaze, Pei raises his cup. Happy birthday, Assistant Gu. Gu is completely speechless. But Ruyan stares at Pei and coldly calls him out as team leader Pei. She warns him that he is late and needs to focus on his work. She tells him not to slack off just because his job is administrative. Now the looks he gets turn into mocking pity. Standing there under those eyes, any normal guy would feel incredibly humiliated. But Pei just feels numb. He forces himself to look her straight in the eye. He calmly tells her he already cleared his late arrival with his supervisor. So Director Liu does not need to worry, and Ruyan's lips tighten. She gives him one long, intense look before walking away. A toxic male coworker who hates Pei immediately pipes up. He sneers that Pei's happy marriage on social media was a total lie. He laughs that Ruyan makes millions now, while Pei is just a nobody. He says Pei is punching way above his weight and walks off. The guy literally laughs in his face as he passes. Honestly, what a clown. Looking down at the coffee, Pei is suddenly hit by a wave of memories. When they first started here, both of them were top-tier tech developers. But the company had a strict rule against dating coworkers. To protect their relationship and support her, Pei made a massive sacrifice. He voluntarily transferred to the admin department, giving up his tech career. He worked stable hours just to keep their home in perfect order. Yet now, in Ruyan's eyes, he is just some useless guy doing odd jobs. As he stands there in silence, mysterious text prompts flash before his eyes. The screen tells him not to listen to gossip. Ruyan only came to see him. She supposedly bought the entire company coffee just as an excuse. Apparently, her eyes lit up when the assistant mentioned his birthday. The text begs him to believe it, but can he really trust these floating words? If she wanted to see him, she could have done it normally. But she chose the one way that utterly humiliated him. That is low-key toxic. He cannot shake this heavy feeling all morning. Until lunchtime. His manager asks him to step into her office, and things are about to shift. Pei slides a document over. Their branch in Germany has a major crisis. A key tech lead just poached a bunch of employees, and she needs him to review the yearly records. They need someone to take charge. This is his golden opportunity. A wild idea hits Wenqing, and before he can stop himself, the words slip out. He tells her he's originally from tech, and he wants to go abroad. The moment those words leave his mouth, both he and Pei freeze in shock. Up until now, our guy had never even dreamed of willingly leaving his wife, Ruyan. But now that the seed is planted, there is no stopping it. Pei hesitantly asks if he is sure. This transfer requires a contract, meaning he cannot return home for at least 5 years. She asks if he should discuss this with Ruyan first, but Wenqing just shakes his head. His resolve only hardens as he tells her there is no need. He can make his own choices. He previously threw away his career for his family, but now he has a real shot to restart. He refuses to let this slip away. Hearing this, Pei looks at him with newfound respect. After a long silence, she finally nods and promises to recommend him to the board. She warns him not to let her down. He nods, hard. A surge of pure excitement fills his chest, but just as he walks out of the office, those mysterious floating text pop-ups flash in front of him again, complaining about his sudden departure. They are freaking out, begging the female lead to hurry up and win her husband back. Otherwise, she is going to lose him forever no matter how much he hugs his pillow at night. But Wenqing ignores the comments this time, immediately diving back into his old tech manuals to prepare. Thank goodness he kept up his old study habits, even after being sidelined in a useless department.
He spent the entire day studying cutting-edge research to get back to the top of his game.
His grind is only interrupted when his close friend Liao Bin texts him about his birthday party. Asking if he can make it, Wenqing immediately remembers the date and feels bad for forgetting. He quickly texts back a yes, and as soon as his shift ends, he heads outside. Right across the street, he spots Ruyan's signature silver gray Bentley waiting by the curb. He freezes, and right on cue, the floating chat box starts spamming comments again. The comments say the female lead is here for him, and just a simple glance will fix everything. They claim she will run right over to him and beg him to stop being angry. Tell me about it. But just as Wenqing hesitates, someone slams right into him. He gets shoved hard from behind. When he spins around, he is staring right into the smug, smiling face of that green tea guy, Huaizhou. The guy fake apologizes, claiming he was in such a rush to celebrate Ruyan's birthday that he missed him. Huaizhou then casually mentions that Ruyan is taking him to the exclusive Juliet restaurant. He smugly asks for food recommendations since he saw Wenqing post about eating there before. His mind goes completely blank. Juliet restaurant? That is the exact place where he proposed to Ruyan, and he had made her promise something. He had told her it was their sacred space, and even if they split, she must never bring anyone else.
Back then, she had looked him in the eyes and promised there would never be anyone else.
A literal dagger to his chest. Cold pain spreads. Before he can even process this betrayal, Ruyan herself comes running over to them. She does not even spare Wenqing a single glance. Her eyes are locked entirely on Huaizhou. She runs up in a panic, desperately asking the green tea guy what is wrong. Honestly, this is so painful to watch. Is he hurt anywhere, she asks. Wenqing already chose to leave her, but seeing this in person still tears him apart. He can't even look at them anymore. That sickeningly sweet chemistry is just too painful to watch. Pei Wenqing turns and flees, while those weird floating screen comments start flashing in front of his eyes. The comments warn him not to fall for her mind games, begging him to stay safe from an accident. Some say he ignored a red light to run over, wondering why the female lead refused to speak up. Others scream about how she could care about someone else when her man was clearly furious. But he just runs faster and faster, his tears completely blurring out the floating text. Only after rounding a corner and losing sight of them does he finally collapse against a wall to breathe. Wiping his eyes, he absolutely hates himself for being so pathetically weak over her. Once he finally calms down, he hails a cab and heads over to his friend's birthday party. Pushing the door open, he finds his 3 best friends inside, laughing and catching up. One of them looks pretty worried, asking the others if Pei Wenqing is even going to show up. Wei Hao Chuan just snorts, pointing out they haven't heard a single word from him in 2 months. The last time he called, it was literally just to ask about some ladies' aromatherapy. Obviously, he wanted it for Liu Ruyan. Liao Bin sighs, really hoping their bro actually makes it tonight. Hearing how he missed Liao Bin's birthday last year, Pei Wenqing feels a massive wave of guilt.
These guys are his absolute ride or dies, the ones he used to share everything with.
Back then, if any of them had trouble, the rest would drop everything to help. But honestly, at some point, his entire life just started revolving completely around his toxic girlfriend. His friends, his hobbies, his daily routine, everything was sacrificed just to please Liu Ruyan. Everything else shrank. All that mattered was Liu Ruyan. He skipped their boys' nights, ignored their calls when they were heartbroken, and flaked on trips. Taking a deep breath, he forces down the guilt and prepares to face them. He plasters on a bright smile, pushing the door open to greet his real brothers. Apologizing for being late, he hands over the birthday gift. Wishing Liao Bin a happy birthday, the 3 guys look up in absolute shock and joy. Liao Bin immediately waves him over, shouting that they were just waiting on him.
They even ordered all his favorite dishes, proving they still care about him so much.
He sits down, joining the chaotic banter with a huge grin on his face. For the first time in years, he feels like his old, happy, carefree self again. When it is time to cut the cake, Liao Bin suddenly pulls him to the center. Looking at him with absolute sincerity, his best bro offers him his own birthday wish. He wants Pei Wenqing to be happy from now on, leaving our boy totally stunned. Seeing the genuine concern in his friend's eyes, he feels tears welling up all over again. This moment right here is so beautiful. Who needs toxic love when you have true friendship? Swallowing his tears, he realizes his friends are the ones who actually have his back. Closing his eyes, he silently wishes to finally start living for himself from now on. No more chasing a girl who treats him like absolute garbage. This is his turning point. This night easily becomes the happiest he has had in years, completely free of anxiety. No constant checking for her texts and 0 worries about her annoying clean freak rules. He can smash cake on his friends and drink as much as he wants. Singing badly at the top of his lungs, he finally vents all that pent-up pain. Passing out drunk on the sofa, he faintly hears his buddy offering to drive him home. But then he remembers. He hasn't even told his bros that he finally walked out on his toxic girlfriend. The second Wenqing regains consciousness, his friend Haoshuan is already screaming in pure rage. He hears Liu Ruyan's name being thrown around as he struggles to open his eyes. Through his blurry vision, there she is, Liu Ruyan standing in her nightgown by the bedroom door. Right next to her is Gu Huaizhou, totally disheveled, while hot-headed Hao Xuan keeps blasting them both. Hao Xuan yells that he only held back because she is a woman, asking if she even remembers her wedding vows. To do something this shameless right now is honestly disgraceful. But Ruyan just stands there with a cold face, looking at Hao Xuan like he is some street thug. Wenqing stares at the scene, his mind entirely blank, while the system text before his eyes starts flashing like crazy. The comments are screaming. Why would anyone call their assistant to deliver a document in the middle of the night? Now they got caught red-handed, and there is absolutely no way she can explain this away. They blame the assistant for insisting on delivering some super important files at this ungodly hour. Fans are low-key heartbroken for our main character, begging the female lead to just explain herself already. Why is she just staring at his clenched fists? Following the prompt, Wenqing looks over at Ruyan. Sure enough, she is staring straight at him, and their eyes lock in the most tense silence. She speaks first, coldly telling Wenqing to take his crazy friend and get out of her sight. She demands they leave her house immediately because she will not tolerate their madness under her roof. A sharp pain suddenly pierces Wenqing's chest, and he forces the words up from his throat. He asks the one question that is absolutely tearing him apart. Ruyan, do you have nothing to say? But she just lets out a quiet, mocking laugh that feels like a slap to his face. Bro, she actually asks why on earth she should report her actions to him. Absolutely toxic. A toxic mix of betrayal and pure agony explodes in his chest, suffocating him like a tight grip. The pain is so intense, his vision literally goes dark, and he desperately gasps for air. The crushing heartbreak mixed with the heavy alcohol makes him feel intensely sick to his stomach. He covers his mouth, stumbling blindly across the room until he finds a trash can. But the moment he looks down, he spots a pile of shattered ceramic pieces inside. Seeing those custom nightstand dolls smashed in the trash is genuinely the ultimate disrespect, guys. He throws up violently, feeling like his entire soul is being ripped right out of him. Hao Xuan panics and immediately rushes to his side, desperately trying to help. He gently pats Wenqing's back, but through this entire heartbreaking scene, Ruyan just stands coldly by the bedroom door, not taking a single step forward. Hearing Hao Xuan yell her name, Wenqing knows his hot-headed friend is about to explode again.
He quickly grabs his friend's arm to stop him, but when he looks up,
Hao Xuan instantly freezes up, his voice cracking with deep worry as he looks at him. He begs Wenqing not to cry, prompting our main character to blankly touch his own face. His fingers come back wet. He didn't even realize he was crying as the text flashes again. The system comments keep rolling, saying that Ruyan actually wanted to run over when he started throwing up. They claim she was just too slow and got beat to the punch by his friend. Supposedly, seeing him so broken made her instantly regret being so incredibly harsh with her words. They even tell him not to worry about the smashed dolls because she secretly made new ones. Apparently, she threw them out to surprise him, but Wenqing honestly cannot read this garbage anymore. Griping Hao Xuan's hand tightly, he forces himself to stand and whispers that they need to leave. Hao Xuan grits his teeth in absolute fury, glaring daggers at Ruyan one last time. He drags Wenqing toward the exit, but right at the doorway, Wenqing suddenly stops in his tracks. He turns back to look at Ruyan, his gaze incredibly serious as he says her name. He quietly tells her they should find some time to get a divorce as they leave. Leaning weakly on his buddy Wei Haoxian, Wenqing suddenly gets hit with a wave of old memories. All of them are just toxic little memories with Liu Ruyan, like how he always forgot his house keys. But Liu Ruyan hated smart locks, so one night Wenqing was stuck waiting in the hallway until midnight. When she finally got back, her first words were just mocking him, telling him to stop being so forgetful. Then there was the time his downstairs neighbor called him, complaining that his water pipes were leaking. He literally rushed home from work in a panic, only to find Liu Ruyan just sitting there at home. When he asked why she did not handle it, she just coldly said that these chores were his responsibility. Asking what it had to do with her, or how about the time she went on a business trip. He bought a nice houseplant and eagerly texted her photos, 3 messages in total, but she completely ghosted him. Talk about toxic, right? When he sent a 4th message, he realized she had actually blocked him. Later, she told him it interrupted her meeting, casually dismissing his texts as useless spam, always calling his feelings small things. Honestly, this is so true. When the avalanche finally hits, not a single snowflake is innocent. The elevator dings as they reach the lobby, and Wei Haochuan carefully asks Wenqing if he is okay. This question suddenly snaps Wenqing right out of his heavy thoughts. Wenqing just smiles and shakes his head, realizing that not being trapped by those trivial memories anymore is actually a major blessing. After driving him all the way home, Wei Haochuan finally heads out. Lying in bed, Wenqing fully expected his mind to be in complete chaos after everything. But the moment his head hits the pillow, he falls fast asleep, waking up refreshed the next morning. The sun is shining bright, and he heads out to work as usual. But as he arrives at the company entrance, he spots Liu Ruyan standing right by the main gate. Suddenly, those floating system text blocks light up again, reporting that the female lead has been waiting since dawn. Fearing she'd miss her guy and praying that he'll finally get a clue and take her back. Apparently, after he left last night, she threw a massive tantrum at her poor assistant, even getting them reassigned. Just then, Liu Ruyan spots Wenqing and starts striding right over to him. She sizes him up from head to toe, immediately frowning and demanding to know what he is wearing. She snaps that he looks terrible in those clothes, ordering him to go back and change immediately. Wenqing looks down at his shirt, his hands tightening into fists. Honestly, he just wants to avoid her toxic energy, but he simply can't stay silent anymore. He tells her that his outfit is his own business, especially since they are literally getting a divorce, asking if she gets it. Hearing this, Liu Ruyan's brow furrows even tighter in pure disbelief. She tries to hold back, but he can't hide the sheer irritation in her eyes, saying the tech team must be free because she does not have time for his childish drama anymore. Those annoying floating text comments start buzzing again, wondering if she was not supposed to be apologizing to him. Why is she acting so high and mighty? But others point out she hasn't slept all night. Her mind is completely scrambled because she can't stop thinking about him demanding a divorce. The system comments keep claiming she is softening up, but looking right past those floating words.
Wenqing only sees her utterly cold expression and hears the heartless words coming out of her mouth.
She snaps that if he is going to keep acting like this, there is nothing she can do. Watching her, Wenqing can clearly see the arrogant certainty shining in her eyes. She is dead certain he will never leave, believing his divorce talk is just an empty bluff. Suddenly exhausted, Wenqing completely loses the will to argue, simply nodding and telling her that he will have the divorce papers ready as soon as possible, before walking straight past her into the office. Once inside the administration office, his senior colleague, Sister Pei, approaches him with some urgent files. She warns him that it is an emergency, and they urgently need personnel to transfer over. The boss already approved his transfer request, and she even booked his flight for tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Are you sure you can do this? He freezes in disbelief. But then he nods firmly, clutching the thin transfer document in his hands. His heart finally feels light, and he spends the entire day fully locked in. He is incredibly busy, first handing off all his work duties to his colleagues. Then he meets up with Wei Haochuan and another friend at a local college diner. Hearing about his sudden transfer, both of them are absolutely shocked. But they immediately congratulate him, and Wei Haochuan slams the table, praising Wenqing, saying he did not just get promoted, but also got away from that toxic girl. It is a total win-win, and Wenqing cannot help but laugh out loud. Dinner is over, everyone heads back to their own places. As he strolls down the street, a sudden clap of thunder shakes the air. Before he can even find any shelter, the rain starts pouring down like crazy. By the time he makes it back home, he is completely drenched to the bone. He quickly takes a hot shower and pops 2 cold pills just in case. But late at night, a brutal fever hits him hard. Gritting his teeth, he calls a cab to the hospital since his transfer starts tomorrow. He does not want to delay his trip and make the boss think he is lazy. 2 a.m. He finally arrives outside the emergency room. He pushes the door open, only to hear the all-too-familiar voice of Liu Ruyan, anxiously asking the doctor if her boyfriend is going to be okay. Instinctively looking inside, he spots them right in the emergency room. Liu Ruyan stands by the desk while Gu Huaizhou sits there, leaning heavily on her. His whole body is slumped against her as Liu Ruyan panics with worry. wondering why a simple stomachache is hurting him this badly, begging the doctor to give him medicine while Wenqing stands there watching her, completely dazed. Just a bad stomach. He has been there too. But whenever he was in pain, Liu Ruyan only had one thing to say. Drink more hot water. He numbly watches the digital comments floating before him.
Even the readers have had enough, commenting they cannot defend her anymore,
Pointing out how he is sick alone while she coddles her assistant. Some speculate she only acted this anxious because she noticed he was standing there,
saying she is just throwing a tantrum. But Wenqing does not open the door.
He simply turns around and sits on a waiting chair in the empty hallway.
Dead silence. The air feels frozen as hours slowly tick by.
Finally, the emergency room door clicks open and two figures walk out.
They stop right in front of him, and he slowly looks up,
meeting the cold gaze of Liu Ruyan, who is staring straight at him.
She quickly looks away, wrapping her arm around Gu Huaizhou to support him.
They brush past him without a word, just as a nurse approaches his chair.
pressing a thermometer against his forehead. The nurse takes one look at it.
She gasps in shock. Your fever is at 39.5 degrees.
She asks if he is okay. Wenqing just looks up and smiles. He says he feels fine, but during this 39-degree fever, he completely burns away his last hope for her, then gets a fever-reducing shot. He grabs his prescription, heads straight back home, and quietly falls asleep. Maybe luck is finally on his side, because the next day, Wenqing's fever completely disappears. Staring at the thermometer, he lets out a huge sigh of relief. His flight is safe, but then a notification. Liu Ruyan had called him, 17 missed calls in total. He suddenly remembers that back when she actually cared, she would spam call to apologize. She would endlessly call to apologize. But after marriage, Wenqing kept tolerating everything and she stopped putting in any effort. He just smiles. Then he blocks her number entirely. The floating comments panic, begging him not to do it because she sat downstairs all night. She watched his window until his lights went out, silently guarding him in the dark. They call him cruel for not knowing. Unbelievable.
Wenqing totally ignores the comments and heads straight to a print shop. We love to see it.
He prints out a copy of the divorce agreement. After all these years, there is barely anything to split between them. The house belongs to her. His own wages are his. Time to pack.
He contacts the landlord to end his lease. Turns out, leaving is actually this easy.
Packed up, he heads downstairs one last time. He plans to mail the divorce papers, but runs right into Liu Ruyan waiting outside.
She's leaning against her silver Bentley, a lit cigarette between her fingers, even though she never smokes.
She looks completely exhausted. Her face pales the moment she sees his suitcase. Urgently, she asks where he's going. He casually lies that it's just a business trip, and she visibly relaxes. She calmly claims she was just passing by and offers him a ride to the airport. Wenqing stares at her for a moment, then simply nods. Inside the car, comments go wild.
The comments scream at her to ask more questions since this is an overseas assignment.
He won't be back in just a few days. She only rushed here because he skipped work.
She specifically came for him, yet she acts like she just randomly passed by. The comments are losing their minds over her stubbornness, and honestly, I agree. But for the entire drive, Liu Ruyan doesn't say another word to him. She follows him, all the way to security. As he turns to leave, she suddenly calls out his name. She tells him that when he returns, they'll visit his parents together. He looks back. She looks completely calm. It's like nothing ever happened between them. Every single time they fought before, she assumes this time is no different.
She expects all their tension to magically vanish once he gets back.
He just stares at her in silence as the airport speaker crackles to life. It announces the final boarding call for flight DH9755 to Berlin. That is exactly his flight, and it departs in half an hour. He snaps back, reaching deep into his bag.
He pulls out the envelope containing their divorce papers and hands it over.
No hesitation. He smiles and tells her it's signed. He tells her to just email it back after signing, then walks straight into security. Goodbye, Liu Ruyan. This time, their entire marriage is what is vanishing forever. Wenqing strides past airport security. He is completely done. Suddenly, Ruyan's panicked voice rings out behind him, demanding to know what these divorce papers are.
She is yelling, but airport security steps in to hold her back.
Red, disbelieving eyes. He just smirks. He steps into the cabin, leaving her desperate cries behind. Finally, he lands in Berlin. One night of rest, then work. For 3 whole days, he works day and night without thinking of her once. He steps outside. The bright sunlight stings his eyes, but as his vision clears, he freezes. Ruyan is standing right there crying.
This is insane.
He expected her to be back home. She marches right up to him, her voice hoarse from traveling so far. Why did you hide this 5-year transfer?
She actually asks if he is lying to her now.
Wenqing just frowns. Didn't you see the divorce papers? Her eyes turn even redder as she grabs his arm in desperation. Since she never agreed, they are absolutely not getting divorced. Her shamelessness leaves him completely speechless. Right on cue, the glowing system text floats in front of him. Talk about a crazy pursuit arc. She flew across the globe, but her attitude is still incredibly toxic. But our boy is done playing games. Looking at the screen, he scoffs at her predictable behavior.
Even now, her first instinct is to blame him. Suddenly, she grabs his hand.
She demands he cancel the transfer and let someone else take the spot. Just walk away? Wenqing violently shakes off her grip, telling her he earned this opportunity. He refuses to throw his career away. She looks completely baffled. Running to the other side of the world won't solve our problems. The absolute audacity. He suppresses his rising anger, telling her that signing the paper solves everything. She just glares back with pure, unhinged fury. Bloodshot veins creep into her eyes as she steps closer. We are not getting divorced. She reminds him of her vow that only death would part them. Is he doing this just to torture her? Honestly, dealing with a partner this toxic is a literal nightmare.
Thankfully, someone taps his shoulder. It is his colleague, Yu Tao, asking for a quick ride home.
Wenqing eagerly agrees, finally escaping into the company car with a sigh of relief. Wenqing glances at his rearview mirror, and yep, Liu Ruyan is still standing right there. They are too far apart for him to make out her expression. He pulls his gaze back and asks Zhang Yutao. Asking where he lives, Zhang Yutao just grins and tells him to start driving first. He wants to get off at the next intersection, which honestly leaves Wenqing pretty confused. The guy winks and asks if that woman back there was his ex.
He figured Wenqing wanted to escape the drama, so he offered him a quick ride to help.
Such a direct move actually makes Wenqing a bit awkward, but he still thanks him. Zhang Yutao waves it off. Honestly, he just can't stand toxic, clingy people like her anyway. But Wenqing really does not want to deep dive into his marriage drama with a stranger. He follows the guy's directions and drops him off at the next crossing, promising to bring him some fresh coffee in the morning.
It is a small thank you for the help, and Zhang Yutao does not refuse.
He just waves and heads off, leaving Wenqing to finally go back to his apartment. Massaging his aching temples after a long day, he heads straight to the bathroom to prep a hot bath. But before the tub can even fill up, his phone starts ringing. He picks it up to find his mom on the other end, sounding pretty anxious.
She reveals they came to town for a surprise visit, but found some random guy living in his and Ruyan's apartment.
Wenqing freezes, his stomach dropping as he watches the bathwater slowly rise. Closing his eyes, he decides it is finally time to break the news to them. He reveals he is finally divorcing Liu Ruyan, and the papers are already signed. He tells her they are still negotiating, but a heavy silence falls on the other end of the line. She and his dad want to come over and see him right away. But Wenqing tells her not to bother, since he already took the overseas job.
He is currently out of the country and will explain everything once he settles.
He promises to tell them the whole truth later. Ever since he graduated college, his parents trusted his choices. They rarely meddled in his life or tried to force him into making any major decisions. This time is no different, and they hang up without pushing further. He strips down and slides into the warm water, letting it wash over his chest. His mind starts to drift, wondering who that random guy at his place was.
It has to be Gu Huaizhou, which is honestly so hypocritical of her.
She claims she wants him back, yet she lets her assistant move right into their home.
The sheer irony of it makes him scoff as he sinks deeper into the bath.
Then those weird system text blocks start flashing before his eyes again, crying about a misunderstanding. The readers complain that she only sent her assistant to pack some things for him. But honestly, who wouldn't misunderstand when the assistant is the actual reason they are getting divorced?
They write that his parents are definitely going to be completely done with her now.
The comments hope they would play peacemakers, but Wenqing just shuts his eyes to block it out.
He doesn't want to read any of it. His family is not old-fashioned at all. There's no way they would ever force him to stay in a broken, miserable marriage like this. If they knew how much he suffered, they would tell him to run, not stay. That night, he finally sleeps peacefully.
The next morning, he wakes up to a cold, dreary rain drizzling outside his window.
Grabbing his umbrella and heading out, he immediately spots a familiar figure standing downstairs, Liu Ruyan.
Berlin nights are freezing, and there is no telling how long she has been waiting.
He has no idea what her game is, but he already made his stance completely clear yesterday.
Not wanting any more pointless drama, he simply tries to walk right past her. Wenqing hears her call out his name, insisting she never signed those divorce papers.
This girl steps up, dead serious. She suggests transferring to his branch, or having him go back with her.
Even if she messed up, she expects another chance. Talk about shameless. Wenqing just stares at Liu Ruyan and asks if she honestly thinks she never gave her a single chance to make things right. Remember when Gu Huaizhou showed up at their house? He begged her to explain. Instead, she threw away his precious ceramics without a care.
Did she ever care about his feelings?
At this point, Ruyan just frowns, repeating her favorite excuse about her professional boundaries.
Her defense? She made him new ones, so we should just get over it. As she reaches out to grab his arm, Wenqing instantly takes a step back to dodge her.
Don't touch me.
Talk about double standards. She has strict boundaries for him, but lets her side piece roam her house? To make matters worse, she still hasn't explained the elephant in the room.
What about that photo of her kissing another guy? She definitely did not expect him to stand his ground.
Her face instantly pales.
He tells her straight up that he has his own life now, so she needs to stop bothering him.
Ryan gets pissed, coldly snapping that she already swallowed her pride to come apologize. She asks what else he wants, smugly reminding him that without her signature on those papers,
they'll still be legally married when he eventually returns home.
Wenqing looks back, his voice dropping to absolute freezing temperatures. He points out how she's acting exactly like her toxic mother, dragging her father through a miserable marriage. What's the difference? After being together for so long, he knows exactly which buttons to press to hurt her the most. Her face goes completely blank as he gets in his car and drives off. Feeling incredibly relieved, Wenqing arrives at work only to see his junior, Zhang Yutao, waiting.
Yutao immediately asks if that toxic ex caused him any more trouble.
Seeing his junior's genuine concern honestly warms our boy's heart. He hands Yutao a coffee, telling him not to worry since he can handle it.
But right after he says that, the system's text window starts flashing in front of him.
The comment section is losing it. They point out he's treating the female lead like a chore, completely moving on from her. She pulled strings all night to find his address, only to get her heart shattered.
Some viewers are even begging him to give her another chance since she realized her mistake.
Wenqing ignores the system comments and walks straight into his office. But as soon as he steps inside, he spots someone unexpected sitting near his desk.
She looks up with a cute snaggletooth grin and waves right at him.
Playfully asking if he's surprised, it's honestly more of a shock to him. She is the chairman's only daughter, Chu Bei-shu. He outright asks why she didn't just stay back home instead of coming here.
Bei-shu just smiles warmly and gives him a perfectly logical explanation. Since she just finished her master's degree, her dad wanted her to get some real-world experience.
With this branch having some trouble, fixing it would look great on her resume. Plus, her dad knew Wenqing was stationed here, so he felt totally safe sending her over. But before Wenqing can even process this sudden arrival,
right behind Wenqing, Jiang Yutao whispers that the wealthy young heiress has officially arrived. We do not even know if Chu Bei-shu hears him because her expression stays completely unbothered.
Wenqing doesn't overthink it, simply reminding her that she actually majored in finance back in college.
He has her analyze the past 3 months of data. No spoiled socialite habits here.
She actually grinds hard all morning, which definitely makes Jiang Yutao steal a few surprised glances.
Lunchtime rolls around, and Chu Beishu naturally stands right in front of him, calling him Brother Wenqing.
Can she join him for lunch? Wenqing just pinches his temples and agrees.
Let's go. Jiang Yutao immediately jumps up to tag along, and the three of them head out.
But just as they are deciding on a place, they bump right into the toxic ex, Liu Ruyan. Face completely expressionless, she hands a food bag straight to Wenqing.
Apparently the local food won't suit his taste, so she ordered him some Chinese takeout. She glances at his coworkers and purses her lips. She didn't know he'd be with others. Since she didn't buy enough, Wenqing refuses the bag and tells her to keep it. He's eating with his colleagues. Liu Ruyan immediately frowns. Does he really have to treat her like this? Before Wenqing can even reply,
Chu Beishu steps in, calling her out as Director Liu and mentioning some major rumors.
Word is Liu Ruyan's latest project is falling apart. Talk about terrible timing. She asks if flying out here instead of handling her mess is really appropriate. Liu Ruyan definitely recognizes her. Lips tightening, she coldly insists that her project is absolutely fine.
Rumors aren't always true. She dismisses the gossip, then turns her gaze right back to Wenqing.
If they are going out for lunch, she wants to tag along too. Honestly, Wenqing is totally done with her, so he decides to make things crystal clear. No lunch together. He flat out rejects her, leaving her completely frozen. Right then, the floating system comments go absolutely wild, begging him not to treat her this way. She just has an eccentric personality but would never actually betray him. But one loyal fan comment pops up, saying they support him no matter what, because he truly suffered. Reading that last line, Wenqing feels a sudden wave of bitterness wash over him. Because looking back, those years spent with Liu Ruyan were filled with genuine misery. But that's officially over. He completely ignores the stunned Liu Ruyan. He gets in the car with Chu Beishu and Jiang Yutao, leaving her behind as they head off. Once they sit down, he realizes both of his companions are staring at him without even blinking. He asks what's up, and Jiang Yutao looks like he just witnessed a literal miracle. Talk about awesome! He excitedly blabs about how incredibly cool Wenqing was back there. Dealing with toxic girls requires that exact level of savage precision, tactfully avoiding asking for details. No prying into their past, just keeping the absolute hype going. Wenqing just chuckles and tells him it's time to finally order some food. He doesn't think he's anything special. If he were actually built different, he wouldn't have let himself suffer for years. He doesn't even notice Chu Beishu staying dead silent. She just silently watches him the whole time. When they finally head back to the office, Liu Ruyan is already gone. Normally, Wenqing was always completely submissive to her demands. Cutting her off so cleanly is a major first, but if that's what it takes to show her that he wants absolutely nothing to do with her, he'll gladly do it 100 times over. Fortunately, Liu Ruyan doesn't show her face for days, likely heading back home. Our boy Wenqing low-key feels a massive weight lifted off his chest. Meanwhile, the floating bullet comments keep spamming about how incredibly charming and handsome he looks when working. Look at Jiang Yutao peeking at our boy Chen Shang. He is totally locked in on his career. Did he finally drop the female lead? Honestly, let him thrive alone. No debate on this. Chen Shang just laughs off the rumors and enjoys a peaceful month. But then, boom, he gets a text from Gu Huaizhou begging him. Can you please unblock Director Liu Ruyan? It breaks my heart seeing her call you all night. Chen Shang stares at the text and instantly blocks his number too. Savage move! He literally does not care what Gu Huaizhou or Liu Ruyan are doing. None of his business. His peaceful days are officially cut short right after that text. Because guess who shows up at his door with bags packed? Liu Ruyan and Gu Huaizhou! Chen Shang can barely force a smile as Gu Huaizhou hands over a file. He claims the company is expanding to Germany and they are here for inspections. Seeing the official stamp on the paperwork, Chen Shang does not argue. He leads them straight to the office and addresses her as Director Liu. He tells her this office has 2 desks, perfect for her and her assistant. Liu Ruyan clenches her fists. She snaps that she never agreed to share a room, instantly embarrassing Gu Huaizhou. Chen Shang just smiles, saying sorry, but there are no other rooms left. Back home, they shared an office anyway, so what is the big deal? His savage sarcasm is top tier, basically calling them out for acting special. Liu Ruyan is totally speechless, and suddenly something clicks in her head. She looks at him and asks if he used to get jealous over this. Like, bro, what? Looking at her confused face honestly just makes him feel sick. He reminds her they are divorced and she needs to watch her mouth.
The past is dead, and he wants to keep things strictly professional now.
Her expression drops. Chen Shang turns and walks out without hesitation since they both have work. The rest of the day goes by in complete silence between them. By the time he finishes his shift, her office is already pitch black. He stretches his neck and heads downstairs, only to hear someone crying in the dark. He spots them. Gu Huaizhou looks completely devastated while she just stands there frowning. Right as he is about to leave, Gu Huaizhou starts begging her. He literally cries out that she is already pregnant with his baby. He quietly slips away. Suddenly, the system comments start blowing up on his screen in absolute shock. Everyone is screaming that the male lead was totally right not to forgive her. Otherwise, she would have kept cheating, though some still cope it as a misunderstanding. Some fans swear she would never betray him, but Chen Shang just starts his car. He does not let the comments get to him, but he cannot forget her expression. She looked totally annoyed, but she did not actually deny the pregnancy. Knowing her, there is a 90% chance the guy is telling the truth. He just grips the steering wheel and laughs. This is actually crazy.
Our protagonist, Wenqing, is dealing with a supposedly loving wife.
But she went and got pregnant with another man, an ugly truth. He quickly calls his lawyer friend. The line connects almost instantly, with Wei Haoxuan asking what is up. Wenqing stares ahead and says he already printed the divorce papers. But Liu Ruyan refuses to sign. Wei Haoxuan completely loses it. Seriously, does she have the nerve to reject the divorce? Wenqing just chuckles. Apparently, yes. He asks how they can finalize this, and Wei Haoxuan gets straight to the point.
Any solid proof of cheating? Wenqing pauses.
He has a photo of her kissing someone else.
Is that all?
Yes, that is it. He feels pretty awkward.
After a long pause, Wei Haoxuan tells him to send the photo over first. He will take a look. Wenqing agrees, saying he's currently driving. Later, back home. The second he steps inside his apartment, he forwards the picture. Moments later, a video call comes buzzing in from Wei Haoxuan. Who sent this? Wenqing is clueless. He honestly admits it was Liu Ruyan's assistant. Wei Haoxuan scowls deeply. Completely photoshopped. They were just standing close to each other. Wenqing is totally stunned. At this point, the reader comments floating before him start screaming. We knew the female lead was innocent. It was all a setup by that green tea assistant. No wonder she was so angry. That poor girl was framed the whole time. But wait, even if the photo was fake,
She is literally pregnant with the assistant's kid right now. Wenqing quickly mentions one more thing.
earlier today, he overheard Gu Huaizhou bragging that Liu Ruyan is carrying his child. Wei Haoxian's jaw literally drops. It takes him ages to stammer out her name. Unbelievable. Wenqing, wait for my signal. He is going to get someone to dig into that assistant's medical records immediately. As a lawyer, his connections are insane. Pulling a few favors is a piece of cake for him. After hanging up, Wenqing lets out a massive sigh. If he had known the photo was fake back then, would things still have ended like this? The answer is a solid yes. He was done enduring her freezing neglect. He was sick of losing himself in that marriage. Eventually, their incompatibility would have been exposed. He is super happy with his life now and refuses to ever look back. Clearing his head, a text catches his eye. A random message pops up asking him to meet tonight at the Brandenburg Gate. It says he proposed there once, and now she wants a chance to propose to him. He just looks down and chuckles. The Brandenburg Gate, where he originally proposed to her.
He stares at her pathetic text, disgusted.
Quickly typing a cold reply, he tells her not to bother. She should focus on what to do with her and Gu Huaizhou's baby instead. Within an hour, someone starts pounding on his front door. Wenqing cautiously peers through the peephole. Yep, it is Ruyan. She actually has this anxious, desperate look he has never seen before. Sweat drips down her forehead, but Wenqing ignores her. He mutes his phone. Her emotions do not matter anymore. The screen keeps silently lighting up on the bed, but he ignores it until Ruyan finally loses her mind. "Open up!" she screams. "We need to talk!" Wenqing literally just laughs. Talk? With a woman who is about to be his ex-wife?
There is literally nothing left to say. Seriously, how delusional is she? Ruyan just starts pounding on the door.
Frowning, Wenqing grabs his phone and immediately rejects her incoming call.
Instead, he dials the building administration. "There is a crazy person harassing me at my door." He demands security. They agree instantly.
And literally, within 3 minutes, security drags Ryan away, kicking and screaming.
Peace is restored. But what about tomorrow? He is pretty sure she will not dare to make a scene in front of the entire branch. After all, her scandalous affair with Gu Huaizhou is a massive mess. Exposing it would completely ruin her career. Later that night, his group chat starts blowing up. Notifications buzz nonstop. Liao Bing asks if he's doing okay over there. He calls Ruyan absolute trash.
Shangnan asks if he should fly to Germany to keep him company.
Do not be sad over one woman.
Back in college, Hua Haoshuan and Yin Shangnan already had their careers planned out.
They entered the workforce early, chasing their dreams. But Liao Bing was the one who always stayed by Wenqing's side.
He knew exactly how deeply Wenqing loved her.
Worried he will not survive this heartbreak, Liao Bing panics. But Wenqing just texts back that he is fine.
She is just a trash ex-wife anyway.
He's too busy with work in Germany to hang out anyway.
Seeing his chill texts, they finally relax.
The chat ends.
Wenqing falls asleep and drifts into an unexpected dream.
He dreams of their sweet college days, back when he was absolutely head over heels for her. Even handing out flyers under the scorching summer sun with her felt like heaven. He was completely soaked in sweat.
Ruyan took her 80 yuan pay and dragged him straight to a boba shop.
She ordered the most expensive drink. He tried to stop her, but she coldly replied, "I agreed to be with you, not to make you suffer."
Suddenly, he wakes up, remembering them sharing that single cup.
He cannot help but shake his head. Honestly, some toxic exes are best left in the past where they belong. Thinking about Ruyan now brings absolutely zero warmth. Just cold indifference. The next morning, he heads to the office. But a shadow looms over his desk as he looks up to see Ruyan staring at him. With a polite smile, he asks if Manager Liu needs something.
She begs him to step outside. He refuses.
Pei Wenqing calls her out immediately, reminding Director Liu Ruyan that they are already in the middle of a divorce. He asks why she keeps bothering him, and suddenly, everyone in the office starts staring at them. Liu Ruyan's face instantly darkens, and our guy just watches her look completely miserable. He suddenly remembers how she bought milk tea for the entire office just to celebrate Gu Huaizhou's birthday. Honestly, he admits he had some selfish motives here. He really wanted to get some payback. But now that he's actually done it, he doesn't feel any of that sweet revenge satisfaction. Just pure self-disgust. He quietly looks away. He calmly tells her to leave if she wants to stop the gossip, assuming she'd take the hint. After all, a pampered heiress like her shouldn't be able to stand this level of public embarrassment. But surprise, surprise, her eyes suddenly well up with tears as she looks down. Her voice breaks as she begs him to listen to her explanation. He pauses what he's doing as the system's text suddenly flashes right in front of him. And look at this! The system says the female lead finally realizes he is not just throwing a tantrum. She is panicking now, but at this point, getting him to forgive her is going to be incredibly tough. Turns out, after being kicked out last night, she actually sat in her car crying the entire night. She finally gets it, but Pei Wenqing has to work. He says they can talk after hours, and instantly, all the depression on her face vanishes.
She lets out a massive sigh of relief and promises to wait for him outside the office.
Everyone around them is practically drooling over the gossip, but he just ignores the drama. But when he stands up with his files, he notices that Chu Beishu's desk is completely empty. He asks where she is. Coworker Zhang Yutao looks up completely confused. Zhang Yutao tells him that Chu Beishu actually took the day off with human resources. He just nods. Chu Beishu has always been super carefree anyway. Honestly, her lasting a month at this job was already a miracle, so she probably got bored.
She is probably off relaxing somewhere. He delivers his files to finance and heads back.
But when he gets back to his desk, he sees a missed call on his phone. It is from headquarters, so he quickly calls back, and the director of the president's office answers. The director tells him that the chairman wanted them to connect, and his private number is in his email. Since it is a personal call, the director says he can just call whenever he has time. Our boy is totally lost. He has only met the chairman a few times at annual gala events.
Sure, the big boss gave him an Outstanding Employee Award once, but what could a low-level worker do?
Why would the chairman want him to call his personal number? It makes absolutely zero sense.
Still, he steps out into the hallway and dials the private number from his email.
It only rings 3 times before getting picked up, making him feel pretty nervous. Before he can even say a word, the chairman chuckles warmly on the other end. It is the chairman. Our boy grips his phone tight. He confirms it is him, asking what the boss needs, and there is a brief pause.
The chairman mentions that he remembers Pei Wenqing went to the same college as his troublemaker daughter.
He explains that they had a fight, but since he is so far away right now, he cannot easily leave his business, and now she is refusing to go to work. He asks if Pei Wenqing could go convince her, and our boy is completely dumbfounded. On one hand, he is amazed the chairman cares this much, but it also feels incredibly absurd. I mean, Chu Bei-shu is literally almost 30 and she is still throwing tantrums at her parents?
He wants him to play therapist? Talk about awkward.
But since this is his ultimate boss asking, he really has no choice but to agree. Just as Pei finishes his call and heads back to his desk, the floating text pops up. It literally makes him freeze. Honestly, this big boss chairman is acting super suspicious. When he called Chu Bei-shu yesterday, he was all smiles, looking incredibly happy. Must be nice having a rich, supportive dad willing to help him chase his crush.
And get this is the first time Pei notices something totally different.
There is absolutely no mention of his toxic ex, Liu Ruyan, in the text. Instead, the message reveals something crazy. Chu Bei-shu wants to pursue him. Nah, that is actually wild. Pei's literally almost 6 years older than him. They barely even know each other, and with Chu Bei-shu's insane background, he could have anyone he wants. Why fall for a divorce guy like Pei? And the chairman helping him is even more impossible. At their elite social level, they only care about status. It is always about business marriages. At least that is how it goes in novels. A million thoughts flash through his mind, but he decides to just brush it all off. Keeping his head down and upgrading himself is his only priority right now. With that mindset, he turns right around and heads back inside his office.
The second he walks in, his coworkers start teasing him about his crazy love life.
His colleague, Zhang Yutao, waves him over to his desk and steps aside with a grin. And that is when Pei finally notices what is sitting right on his desk. It is a massive, beautifully wrapped bouquet of bright and radiant sunflowers. Pei immediately frowns and glances straight toward the office of his ex, Liu Ruyan. She is the only person here who actually knows he loves sunflowers. But looking over, she is just glaring at the bouquet with absolute rage. Yeah, not her. He pauses, walks over, and notices a small card tucked neatly inside. Written in elegant handwriting is a simple message, dedicated to today. Waiting for tomorrow to bring your freedom. Signed, Lisa. Pei raises an eyebrow. If his memory serves him right, Lisa is actually Chu Bei-shu's English name. He slips the card out of the bouquet and casually tucks it inside his notebook.
Zhang Yutao is practically vibrating with gossip, asking which beauty sent them.
Pei just gives him a sharp glare, telling him he does not know, so stop asking. He tells him to get back to work, and his coworker just sticks out his tongue. Zhang Yutao heads back to his desk while Pei slides the bouquet aside and sits down. He starts reviewing the spreadsheets handed in today, but he cannot help but glance over. Seeing the sunflowers glowing under the warm sunlight, he admits they actually look pretty nice. Soon, it is closing time, but Pei is still busy reporting his progress to headquarters. Most of his coworkers have already headed home by the time he finally disconnects the call. The office is completely dead quiet now. Well, actually, scratch that. Not entirely empty. He turns around and spots his ex-wife, Liu Ruyan, leaning against the doorframe, smoking. Pei instantly frowns, but seeing that he is finally done, she starts walking over. Snuffing out her cigarette, she approaches him, bringing a heavy, suffocating wave of smoke with her. Who knows how many cigarettes she just went through because her voice sounds incredibly dry. She immediately confronts him, asking if he moved to Germany just to avoid her and date someone else. Honestly, this completely baseless accusation leaves Pei absolutely speechless. He responds with a cold, sharp tone, asking if a single bouquet proves anything. He points out that by her logic, her endless flirting with Gu Huaizhou warrants a bigamy lawsuit. Liu Ruyan just stares at him, her eyes filled with absolute stunned disbelief. Liu Ruyan demands to know when he became so aggressive, and honestly, her relentless questioning is just getting annoying. He just stands up.
He tells her he tolerated her for too long, making her think he was a pushover. She probably forgot that back in college, he was literally the debate team captain.
Not her business. There is zero reason to explain anything, giving her one final warning. He wants a divorce, and hearing this, Liu Ruyan absolutely loses her mind. Screaming, demanding explanations. She yells that they aren't divorced yet, so this is straight up cheating. Comments start floating in front of Wenqing. One comment says, "Does the female lead still not get that he is done?" Another defends her, claiming she is just panicking because she cares too much.
And why hasn't she even tried to apologize? A fan comments that they want him to move on.
Honestly, nobody wants her.
He stares into her bloodshot eyes as old memories start rushing back.
Back then, Liu Ruyan was nobody. She wasn't earning millions, and her parents had completely abandoned her.
They literally just left her a rundown old house and never bothered checking in on her ever again.
But Wenqing's parents used all their connections to help her rise. Back then, they rarely saw each other because of her busy schedule. Soon, other pursuers started showing up around him. Some knew he had a girlfriend, while others had no clue. But right when they were chasing him the hardest, she finally showed up. She came holding a massive bouquet of sunflowers, even bigger than the one he got today. Waiting at the gate, she didn't say a single word.
She just kissed him.
Promising to rise higher than anyone else, she begged him to wait.
He never planned to betray her, but her words still made him happy.
The long wait began. But this is exactly where things get tragic. She became a top elite, but then she started staying out all night. And then she literally went and had a child with another man. Looking back, it all feels so tragic, but the woman standing in front of him right now, accusing him of cheating? That is just pure comedy. He tilts his chin up. He coldly tells her to go ahead and sue him. It'll only speed up their divorce anyway. Keep the house. He wants out. Her pupils contract. Her chest heaves as she stands there, completely speechless for once. Staring at her, he feels like he is looking at his past self. Helpless, shocked, and deeply heartbroken. Honestly, seeing Karma hit her like this is just so satisfying. Karma is real. He pushes past her and walks away, but when he gets back to his apartment, Chu Benshu is already waiting downstairs, leaning casually against a gorgeous dark red Maserati sports car. He smiles brightly and asks, "Brother Wenqing, do you like the gift I sent you today?" Wenqing gives her a flat look and speaks.
He asks how she knew he liked sunflowers and why she took the day off.
Just to bring him flowers? Hearing that, Chu Beishu's face instantly falls.
She notes they are off the clock, so he is not her boss anymore.
She asks to be friends. He shrugs, saying that even without the job, as her senior, asking questions is totally fine.
Chu Beishu frowns slightly, agreeing that senior is fine.
But elder is pushing it, she says. A 6-year gap is nothing. She cuts him off, laughing that they should drop it.
She invites him for a drive since the night is beautiful.
Looking up at the bright stars, Wenqing actually feels pretty tempted. The screen flickers with comments, loving this romantic vibe. They call her romantic, but is this okay? He has not divorced his wife yet, but she already had another man's kid. The chat supports him. He says yes. He goes to drive, leaving Chu Beishu completely stunned. He smiles, saying he only feels safe driving himself. That is his comfort zone, so they drive separate cars. They leave the apartment, checking his rearview mirror. Chu Beishu is keeping pace right behind his car. He starts wondering how to reject a girl 6 years younger. He is not interested. They grew up in different worlds, and he will not force a connection.
They are like birds flying in opposite directions. Forcing it would just feel awkward.
They drive around aimlessly until Chu Beishu texts him, calling him Big Brother.
She invites him to a bar street. Seeing the brightly lit street, Wenqing texts back, yes.
Once parked, Chu Beishu walks over to ask him.
She asks if he can handle strong liquor. He thinks back to his tech department days.
He used to down whole bottles of strong liquor at business dinners. So yeah, his tolerance is solid, he nods confidently.
They pick a spot scrolling through the digital menu.
She orders a ton of drinks and highly recommends the garlic chicken. She says he will love it. Before replying, Liu Ruyan's voice suddenly cuts in, saying he absolutely hates garlic. She asks if she even checked his preferences first. He turns to see Liu Ruyan standing there, looking gloomy. He asks what she is doing here, but she completely ignores his annoyance. She sits right next to him, claiming she has work to discuss. Since she saw him head out, she decided to just follow him. She is not embarrassed at all, sitting close, just like when they dated. She grabs his arm, trying to mark her territory. Back then, friends always teased her for keeping him so close. Afraid he would run? It was just habit. But Wenqing is totally over her touchy-feely habits, telling her to get her hands off him. Liu Ruyan's face instantly stiffens, staring at him. No shot he is backing down, his boundaries crystal clear.
She pulls back, hands on her lap.
Her fists clench tight as he turns to Chu Beishu. He tells her to order some, knowing Liu Ruyan will never know. He actually hates garlic, but avoided it for her. Talk about wasted devotion! Free at last, he can eat whatever he wants.
His quick encouragement immediately changes her mind.
She immediately orders the dish, smirking right at Liu Ruyan. Pure petty energy, he loves it. Since Liu Ruyan wants to crash their date and suffer, he won't save her face. Then Chu Beishu delivers the ultimate blow, calling out to her. She reminds Liu Ruyan that she is only paying for Wenqing, fueling her rage. Yet she still sits there, stubbornly refusing to leave. What is she even trying to accomplish? Suddenly, the system screen flickers, showing comments about the female lead. They claim she is just desperate to keep other girls away from him. But the smart fans are cheering, telling him to keep holding his ground. They want him to repay all the pain she caused back when he only loved her. She ignored him back then, so her jealousy now is useless. Soon, the food and drinks arrive. She sets everything down and explains the pub events in slightly broken Chinese. They have couple games tonight. With big prizes on the line, Wenqing is instantly interested. He asks what games they have, and she mentions darts. Chu Beishu's eyes instantly light up, and she brags that she is an absolute pro at all of them. Especially darts, promising to win him whatever prize he wants. The waitress just smiles at her energy, wishing them good luck.
She is pure excitement. She eagerly suggests teaming up, explaining how the co-op dart game works.
The girl gets blindfolded while the guy guides her throw. Every hit scores points. They will definitely win, but Liu Ruyan just scoffs coldly. She sarcastically remarks on how Miss Chu seems to be an expert in fooling around. But Chu Beishu laughs it off, saying young people should have fun. Shots fired. Oh, she went there. Liu Ruyan's eyes go dark, her knuckles turning white from sheer anger. Chu Beishu just acts casual, teasing her for getting so mad when no names were mentioned. Seeing her completely unbothered makes Liu Ruyan feel like her anger is totally useless. Wenqing is not stopping them. He just sips his drink, enjoying the absolute cinema of this chaotic moment. Ever since he got with Liu Ruyan, he had completely abandoned his social life. He was always stuck at home, cleaning and waiting for her to return. He lived a totally boring life, but now he is free. Our boy Wenqing decides it is time to make up for lost time and enjoy himself, looking over to the front of the tavern. Over there, a dart target is already set up, loaded with all kinds of cool prizes. He scans the layout, and his eyes stop on a cute little plush doll. He vaguely remembers seeing this exact same plushie before. His friend Jiang Yu Tao has one on his desk, so he'd probably love a second one. Giving it to him at the office tomorrow would be a neat little surprise. He nods to Chu Beishu and agrees. She is hyped to play, pointing out she really wants that red doll. Chu Beishu excitedly chirps in agreement, immediately scanning the prize wall for the one he wants.
Meanwhile, his toxic ex, Liu Ruyan, stands nearby and just cannot help herself.
She asks since when does he like weird toys, telling Wenqing to stop doing things just to get a reaction out of her.
Wenqing does not even bother to reply, but the floating bullet comments in his vision absolutely lose it. One comment says, "Girl, he is not trying to trigger you, he literally just wants the doll." Another chimes in, asking if she can try looking at things from the male lead's perspective for once. The way she acts is honestly hilarious. Poor, delusional female lead. She really thinks he still can't let her go, but remember, you only provoke the people you actually care about. Our boy's complete indifference right now proves he is entirely done with her. Reading that last comment, Wenqing actually gets pretty curious about these mysterious floating words.
They keep flashing across his vision, but he has no idea why he is the only one who can see them.
Plus, the way these bullet comments react feels exactly like real human thoughts. But even if they are real people watching him, what does it matter to him anyway? He drifts off into his own thoughts, completely ignoring the deeply depressed, miserable look Liu Ruyan is giving him. Before long, the dart game kicks off and the hype shopkeeper yells out to the crowd. When he asks who wants to be the first brave lady to try, Chu Beishu jumps right up without a second thought. She says she is up and tells Wenqing to come along. He turns to the blocking Liu Ruyan. He tells her to excuse him in the coldest, most indifferent voice possible. Up on the stage, the owner laughs and tells Chu Beishu that her male companion is exceptionally handsome. Out of nowhere, Liu Ruyan snaps, standing up to announce to the room that he is actually her partner. Wenqing looks at her totally baffled. During all the years they spent together, she never cared about this. She rarely touched any kind of entertainment, let alone silly arcade games like darts. She never once showed interest in things like this, so where on earth is she getting all this confidence from? Honestly though, if she wants to embarrass herself and leave him alone, he is totally fine with that. He thinks it over and tells Chu Beishu that he will go up with her in just a minute. He is genuinely curious to see what his ex is trying to pull off. Chu Beishu smiles warmly.
She says she will be waiting, looking incredibly happy. Her adorable, slightly competitive attitude actually brings a small smile to his face.
He stands up and walks over to Liu Ruyan, securing a tight blindfold over her eyes. The owner hands over 3 darts and starts explaining the challenges ahead. The target is going to start moving, and he can use any verbal cues to guide her aim. All 3 throws need to land just to win a regular prize, but hitting 3 straight bullseyes? That takes home the grand prize of $5,000. Our guy simply nods. He signals that he gets the rules completely, but right then, the blindfolded Liu Ruyan whispers that she won't lose, claiming she's doing this all for him. For a split second, Wenqing drifts back to the past when she used to say sweet things like that. But those days are long gone, and the magic of her voice has completely faded away. Hearing those sweet promises now does absolutely nothing to his heart. Once the target is set in place,
Wenqing casually says, "Southeast."
Liu Ruyan squeezes the dart hard. That is a super vague direction. She looks lost. She finally realizes why he stepped up. He literally wants her to lose. Squeezing the tip, she grazes it. A drop of blood appears. Smiling bitterly, she asks if he really hates talking to her. Does he honestly want her completely out of his life? Wenqing stays silent. Hearing her words, he feels a pretty weird sensation, but then, boom. Liu Ruyan throws straight into the target. He instantly frowns as the floating comments start flashing. As expected of the female lead, she is actually built different. She clutched a 1/3 chance. Nice. She can do it again. Our boy needs to stop tormenting her and just give her a chance. The target moves. Wenqing pauses, then casually points west. Even more vague this time, Liu Ruyan presses her lips thin. But boom! She throws and hits it again. Everyone is shocked. The drinking crowd downstairs actually starts shouting curses. Rigged. Seeing the chaos, the owner hurries over. He asks to check the lady's blindfold. Wenqing steps back. Honestly, even he suspects she is cheating. The crowd calling cap is totally fair. Soon, the owner replaces her blindfold. The hecklers quiet down. Everyone focuses on her. They wait for Wenqing's final cue. He glances at the target, then straight up points southwest, the exact opposite way. She pauses, then turns. He lets out a sigh of relief. The dart flies, heading into completely empty space. But then, ping! To his absolute disbelief, it clips the wall, bounces, and lands. Dead center. The tavern goes silent, then explodes into massive cheers. No more cheating accusations. They think it is mythical Eastern magic.
Only Chu Bei-shu yells out, "Bro, that is actually insane."
The hype is real. Liu Ruyan takes off her black blindfold.
Her eyes shimmer. Wenqing, even heaven wants us together.
The roaring cheers make his chest tighten as someone calls it true love. Staring at her, Wenqing's mind goes blank. Meanwhile, the floating system comments keep spamming. What a female lead!
She nails everything. But wait, another comment calls cap.
While he waited at home, she played this with her assistant.
Stop giving her plot armor. Our boy is the real main character.
Suddenly, a rough shake. Wenqing! Wenqing! He snaps out of his daze. Chu Bei-shu is grabbing his arm, looking anxious. What is wrong? Chu Bei-shu looks at Pei Wenqing nervously, asking why he suddenly froze up out of nowhere. She says she called him repeatedly with zero response and asks if he is doing okay. But before Pei Wenqing can even answer her, the toxic ex Liu Ruyan immediately cuts in. She shoves Chu Bei-shu's hand away, warning her in a freezing, hostile tone. She claims that Pei Wenqing belongs to her and tells Chu Bei-shu to watch her boundaries. Honestly, the audacity is unreal. She acts like she suddenly holds all the winning cards. Pei Wenqing frowns, wondering if her sudden burst of arrogance is because of that specific gift. Completely ignoring her delusional claims, he turns his back on her and looks at Chu Bei-shu. He tells her his game with Liu Ruyan is finished, and he wants that red plushie.
He asks Chu Bei-shu to win it for him, and she eagerly agrees to the challenge.
This immediately makes Liu Ruyan's face drop, and she stares at him in absolute disbelief. She looks at him like he is some heartless cheater, but he does not care. Thanks to the system windows, he already knows her flawless dart skills are not for him. She actually mastered those throws practicing with her lover Gu Huaizhou, so why would he accept that? He wants absolutely nothing from her, so while the stall owner chuckles at the drama, Pei Wenqing claims a basic prize from her win and immediately starts a new game with Chu Bei-shu. A furious Liu Ruyan watches from below as he guides Chu Bei-shu step by step. Honestly, his callouts for Chu Bei-shu are way more precise than the ones he gave her. At this point, the onlookers are totally eating up the drama, since people here love messy love triangles. Watching two gorgeous women fight over one handsome guy is basically a top-tier reality show. Once the game ends, Pei Wenqing finally holds the coveted red plushie in his hands.
He gives her a warm smile and nods his head in a silent gesture of victory.
After he thanks her, Chu Bei-shu smirks at Liu Ruyan like a general winning a major war. She struts off the stage and tells Miss Liu that raw skill means nothing in this game. It is all about whether the guy actually wants to give you a chance, making Liu Ruyan fume. With a voice cold enough to freeze water, she tells Chu Bei-shu to focus on her work.
She sneers that if only her career was as loud as her mouth, but Chu Bei-shu shrugs.
She confidently replies that she has plenty of money to hire professionals just like her. Having her work for her is a total reality check that leaves her completely speechless. Desperate, she looks at Pei Wenqing, but he calmly announces that the night is officially over. He is heading home now, prompting her to quickly offer him a ride back. He rejects her again since he has his own car, which absolutely destroys her pride. Gritting her teeth in sheer embarrassment, she demands to know why he broke his promise. He just raises his eyebrows and asks what exactly he is supposed to have promised her. She was the one who said she would leave, but he never agreed to take her back. Honestly, her persistence does not change the fact that he is rejecting her once and for all. With that final burn, he turns around and heads straight for the exit without looking back. Seriously, he did not even hesitate, arriving early at the office the next morning. He drops the one red plushie on Zhang Yutao's desk and snaps a quick photo of it. Predictably, his friend immediately spams him with a 60-second ecstatic voice note. The pure, high-pitched screaming is way too loud, so he just cuts the audio short. Once he finally sits down at his desk, he notices a fresh breakfast waiting for him.
It is steamed buns and soy milk, smelling exactly like savory pork and green onions.
Suddenly, his cheat code system window starts flashing with a brand new hint. The screen confirms this is indeed the male lead's ultimate favorite breakfast recipe. Back in college, they visited so many spots just for this exact breakfast. But hold on, let me correct you. The female lead didn't actually buy this.
She literally made it herself from scratch to bring him a taste of home.
Talk about dedication. Our main character stares at the steaming hot buns for a second.
Then he just pushes them aside, right as he is about to grab the breakfast.
He made himself. Liu Ruyan steps right up to his desk. She complains that eating a dry sandwich has no nutrition and will ruin his stomach.
Honestly, he already saw her office door open earlier, so her showing up is zero surprise.
He just looks down and tells her calmly to not bother making him breakfast anymore.
No thanks.
Hearing this, Liu Ruyan goes completely silent. She asks what he actually likes so she can make it for him. He sets his sandwich down. Coldly, he tells her there is no need.
Honestly, he hates everything made by her hands.
Talk about a brutal shutdown. Liu Ruyan looks absolutely devastated by this.
But she still insists she knows he is angry and promises to prove she is sorry.
She claims she truly knows she messed up, and as for the baby, she will find a way to deal with it. At that exact moment, he completely loses his appetite. But wait, did you catch that? Liu Ruyan basically just admitted that she is carrying Gu Huaizhou's child. It means that behind his back, the things they did together were way more intimate than that kissing photo she sent him before. Just thinking about it makes his throat tighten up. It is honestly too much, absolutely sickening. Once that nauseous feeling passes, he looks back at Liu Ruyan. Her supposedly familiar face now feels completely foreign to him.
Before he can say a word, Chu Beishu's voice cuts in, calling out for Wenqing.
He says he brought him and Yutao some classic Chinese breakfast. The other colleagues walking in start teasing him immediately.
They ask why he only feeds the handsome guys, and Chu Beishu just laughs.
He jokes that they are on the same team, but promises to butter them up next. His cheerful energy is honestly so wholesome and hard to resist. Chu Beishu walks right over, squeezing past Liu Ruyan and drops the food on his desk. He hands him a pork loin wrap and some hot milk. Our main character looks at him, then glances at Liu Ruyan, who is glaring intensely, before finally accepting the food. But he realizes he needs to set boundaries with Chu Beishu pretty soon.
Being friends is great, but if that's not possible,
he needs to tell him to stop wasting his time. Still, he takes the breakfast, smiles, and says thank you. Watching this, Liu Ruyan is clearly fuming.
Anger flashes, but she quickly forces it back down.
Meanwhile, the floating system text in front of our main character keeps flashing. One comment says the female lead is so pitiful, getting completely destroyed like this. Another fires back that she deserves it for betraying our guy. A third one sighs that it is such a waste of a lifetime romance. He watches her walk away. Not a single spark of feeling remains. After a moment of thought, he opens up WeChat. Our main character Pei asks his boss back home how long Liu Ruyan and Gu Huaizhou are staying. He wanted to know their inspection timeline, and his boss replies almost immediately. Apparently the tech department sent them directly, so it is hard to say. Everything depends on their final report, but for now, the tech department has approved some budget. They approved a 1-month budget for them. A whole month? Pei does the math. It has not even been a single week since Liu Ruyan arrived. This means he is in for a long, painful month. He sighs and buries himself in work. He tries to block out the noise, but right before lunchtime, things take a turn. Liu Ruyan gets a mysterious phone call and rushes out of the office in a panic. Pei barely glances at her before looking away, but then a wild text pops up. Gu Huaizhou texts him asking if they can grab a quick lunch together. He says he has something to tell him. Pei naturally looks toward Liu Ruyan's office. There sits Gu Huaizhou, staring back with an incredibly desperate and complex look in his eyes. Honestly, Pei actually feels a bit bad for the guy and texts back a simple yes. Once the lunch break hits, Pei turns to his young coworker Jiang Yutao. He tells him he has some business and suggests he eats with Uncle Chu Bei instead. Jiang Yutao looks pretty disappointed but has no choice but to agree quietly. He goes to find Uncle Chu Bei.
Uncle Chubei throws a super confused glance at Pei before walking out with Zheng Yutao.
Meanwhile, Pei and Gu Huaizhou head out and sit down at a quiet local restaurant. After ordering their food, Gu Huaizhou looks incredibly tense and anxious.
Clutching his hands together, he sits in silence for a long time before finally speaking up.
He apologizes to Team Leader Pei and says he will make her get rid of the baby.
Pei looks at him, noticing how tired and worn out his once handsome face has become. Honestly, without Pei in the picture, the guy actually looks a lot less arrogant now.
Pei thinks it over and tells him he can keep the child if he really wants to.
After all, Pei is divorcing Liu Ruyan very soon anyway. He could easily marry into her wealth. Pei is not even being sarcastic here. Since Gu Huaizhou chose to ruin Pei's marriage, he might as well finish what he started.
That way, Liu Ruyan will finally have no excuse to keep bothering Pei. Perfect, right?
But as Pei is thinking this, Gu Huaizhou lets out a bitter, hopeless laugh.
He warns Pei that this divorce is probably never going to happen. Pei instantly frowns in shock. Gu Huaizhou explains that he has been consulting with multiple lawyers lately.
If Liu Ruyan refuses to sign the papers, they simply cannot get divorced. He asked several top-tier attorneys, and they all gave the exact same devastating answer. Pei's signed divorce agreement is completely worthless if she refuses to cooperate. And even if the baby she is carrying is proven to be Gu Huaizhou's child, a lawsuit still will not guarantee a court-ordered divorce. Pei's stomach completely drops. He has no idea why Gu Huaizhou is sharing this, but panic is starting to set in. The thought of being legally trapped is terrifying. Is he really stuck with her forever? A cold shiver runs down his spine at the thought of a lifetime of her drama. Gu Huaizhou looks at him and apologizes yet again. He admits that he originally thought their marriage was completely loveless and dead.
Honestly, because he could never see any sign of Director Liu actually caring about him.
But after all this time, he finally sees what he truly is to her. He finally realizes he was just a disposable tool to make Pei Wenqing jealous. Gu Huaizhou smiles bitterly. He knows he acted incredibly low, wrecking their marriage. Minister Liu was the most influential and powerful person he could possibly reach.
He gambled on his future, but now he has lost everything.
His apology seems real, and looking at his miserable face, our main character freezes.
Our main character remembers him first joining the company.
So energetic, always buzzing around the technicians, just trying to learn.
When did he change? Was it that first fancy party with Liu Ruyan? Or when she started buying him expensive gifts? Nobody knows. Pei Wenqing calmly tells him he never stood a chance. The second you rely on someone else for your future, you lose. He feels zero sympathy because this is pure karma.
Still, he is almost glad it happened because it exposed Liu Ruyan.
Without this, he wouldn't have escaped her toxic grasp so fast. He leaves him to his fate, pays the bill, and stands up. Gu Huaizhou doesn't stop him. Just sits there, head down, hair blocking his eyes. You can't see his face, but right before getting into the car, he sees the guy sobbing into his hands. A heavy feeling settles in. Back at the office, he parks, only to spot Liu Ruyan carrying a food container. She freezes, then immediately flashes a fake smile. Walking up, she sweetly offers him his favorite chicken soup. She spent hours on it, but looking at that container,
He just sees Gu Huaizhou's miserable face. Rage explodes.
shoving the soup away, he coldly states he does not want it.
How can she stand here acting like nothing happened?
She wants forgiveness, but did she ever care about Gu Huaizhou?
What right does she have? His sudden outburst totally stuns her.
Her fake smile vanishes. She defensively says she made mistakes before.
But she is trying to make up for it now, so he should drop it. That guy has nothing to do with him. Absolute delusion.
Seeing her annoyed look, Pei Wenqing's heart completely freezes.
Suddenly, the system text flashes again, showing she has learned absolutely nothing. She expects him to just forgive her because she came back. She can cheat, but if he even receives a flower, she loses her mind. The double standards are insane. Is anyone else feeling bad for Gu Huaizhou?
Left with nothing. That comment hits hard. Both of them were just her victims.
All this pain is on Liu Ruyan. If she actually cared about him, she would not have cheated.
She never loved her lover, and she never genuinely apologized to her husband.
Honestly, Wenqing looks down on Huaizhou too. Like, how does this guy live with himself? Drifting between two guys? No shot. Ruyan's usually ice-cold face starts flushing red. She is absolutely fuming at this point.
She clenches her fists in pure rage.
Wenqing, you're insulting me, she snaps, but he just stares back coldly. But isn't she insulting him too? Why does she keep crawling back, acting like he would ever forgive her absolute betrayal? Ruyan is stunned, but she quickly blocks his path as he walks away.
She literally begs him to forgive her.
Believe me, she pleads, I cannot live without you. She promises it will never happen again.
Right then, system text dances before his eyes. The female lead is finally confessing.
Too bad she waited until he completely stopped caring. Talk about a plot twist. He feels absolutely nothing. Honestly, our boy is better off single. He completely ignores Ruyan. He heads to his office, still fuming. But then, he is greeted by Beishu's bright smile, offering him a fresh rice ball. Beishu offers it, but Wenqing asks how much.
Since he skipped lunch, he insists on transferring the money back to him.
Beishu smiles. What relationship? Wenqing remains completely silent.
He just stares quietly. Beishu definitely senses that something is seriously off with his mood.
The kid's smile fades a little, but he stubbornly insists on his kind gesture. Beishu says it's cheap, and Wenqing just nods. He sits down and pushes the rice ball aside. Beishu wants to speak, but Wenqing is already staring at his computer screen.
Defeated, the poor guy slinks away.
The rice ball goes completely cold. Wenqing doesn't take a single bite, fasting the entire day. He gets off work feeling completely lightheaded.
Quickly popping a candy into his mouth, he stops the sudden dizziness.
Suddenly, he remembers how Ruyan used to make sure he ate, no matter how busy she was.
He shakes his head, cursing himself for letting hunger mess with his brain.
Why is he even thinking about that toxic ex? At this point, she has zero charm left. All the nostalgia is gone. Now it's just pure regret for loving the wrong person. He just feels disgusted. But right then, a text from Huaizhou pops up saying he has officially resigned from the company. He thanks Wenqing for waking him up and offers to help him whenever needed. Wenqing reads it but doesn't reply. He tosses the phone aside, but honestly, that heavy weight on his chest, it feels a whole lot lighter. He sighs with a self-mocking smile. Still way too soft-hearted, he just drives straight back home. After making a quick dinner, he collapses onto his sofa. It is already 8 p.m. Then, Hao Xuan calls him. The child Ruyan is carrying is definitely Huaizhou's. Hao Xuan is absolutely losing his mind. Wenqing smiles, knowing his best friend has his back. But get this, Gu Huaizhou is forcing her to get an abortion. Wei Hao Xuan is like, is he insane?
Wasn't his plan to trap Liu Ruyan with that kid? Wenqing explains all the recent drama.
After hearing the full story, even the energetic Wei Hao Xuan goes completely silent. Wenqing asks nervously, is it true he cannot get a divorce if Liu Ruyan refuses? Like, can she actually trap him forever? Wei Hao Xuan just scoffs, like he has a choice. I have plenty of ways to ruin him. Seriously, the cheating alone is more than enough to get that guy fired. He has a friend ready to leak the whole scandal on their company forum. Honestly, she is going to absolutely lose her mind when that drops. He tells Wenqing to just wait because they are settling this divorce right now. Before he can even reply, the call ends. Wenqing quietly thinks it over. Ever since he handed Liu Ruyan those divorce papers, she has been completely ghosting him. If she keeps dragging this out, it is definitely going to ruin his future plans. So he decides to request some time off from work using his app. Knowing his friend's impatient personality, he will probably arrive tomorrow, so he needs to pick him up. Once the leave is approved, he sends a quick heads up to Wei Hao Xuan. He asks for the flight details, and then finally falls asleep. Waking up the next morning, a text is already waiting on his phone. Landing at 11 p.m. tonight. He stares at the screen. He decides to call his parents first, and they answer almost immediately. The moment his mom sees his face, she asks why he looks so thin.
Just like that, all his built-up stress completely melts away at her words.
He chuckles, telling her he actually gained a bit of weight. His mom laughs. I do not believe you. Just wait until you get back home.
Staring at the screen, he finally works up the courage to say it.
My friend is coming today to help me divorce Liu Ruyan. Instantly, his mom stops smiling. His dad is standing silently in the background, and Wenqing's heart immediately sinks.
He cannot help but ask, do you guys not want me to divorce her?
His mom quickly denies it. No, it is just that you are so far away. We can't even be there to support you through this. Honestly, this part is so heartbreaking. Wenqing feels terrible, hating that his parents are still worrying about him.
Taking a deep breath, he promises to visit them the moment everything is settled.
His mom nods eagerly, tears practically in her eyes. His dad finally speaks up. Wenqing, if you are suffering over there, tell us.
If Liu Ruyan ever dares to mistreat you, I will personally handle it.
He is ready to confront her family, especially since they do not live that far apart.
It is only a 90-minute drive, from their dating days to marriage. Their families used to visit each other, though his parents did most of the traveling. Looking back, they only put up with it for his sake. They never should have had to tire themselves out like that.
Back then, Liu Ruyan always refused to visit his family, claiming she hated socializing.
Sometimes he let it slide, and other times he just went home alone. Eventually, his parents had to travel during holidays just to get a glimpse of him. He remembers those days, realizing just how much they sacrificed. Pei Wenqing's eyes well up. His mom quickly asks why he's crying.
Blinking back tears, he quickly smiles, saying he just wanted to spend time with them.
He tells them he can finally spend New Year with them. His parents smile back in relief.
Their beloved son is finally coming home. As soon as the video call ends,
a massive weight lifts. Ditching that toxic ex, Liu Ruyan, was the ultimate power move. Slumping back on the couch, he looks out the window as weird floating words flash again.
No more show! The comments say the male lead is totally cutting ties with her. But wait, didn't the plot say they are legally required to end up together?
If not, this story is a train wreck. If he drops her, what is the point? Pei Wenqing speaks up, asking who is in charge if his life is just a play. Who is in control? The words instantly freeze. While sitting there baffled, the screen suddenly goes chaotic. Can he hear us? Call the admin. He can hear us! Quick, look at me! I always supported your divorce. Our boy just stares at the chaotic screen. A bizarre thought pops into his head. Is it actually possible to communicate with them? He asks who they are, and the chat goes completely wild with excitement. They tell him to be brave. But others argue that he has to end up with her because of destiny. Some even claim she is perfect, and he is just being ungrateful. Hilarious. Reading through the endless flashing text, the reality of his bizarre situation finally sets in. Real humans from a parallel dimension. But to them, everyone around him is just a fictional character. They are all characters trapped in a book, forced to follow a storyline. Bound to reach a predetermined ending, especially him. Apparently, he is supposed to take Liu Ruyan back after she begs for forgiveness. Forgive her? Never. Love that he's standing his ground. Before he can even reply, the floating words warp into a chaotic mess of glitched code. Then, it completely vanishes. Blank space. A massive system error warning suddenly flashes right in front of him. System glitch detected. Initiating emergency repairs now. Warning to all viewers, this world is not some fictional story. It is a real dimension, just like yours, and the people are real. Pei Wenqing is only the male lead to you, but here, he has real feelings. No matter what he decides to do, you have zero right to control him. Only he rules his own destiny, due to a major admin oversight. An interdimensional glitch occurred. Compensation granted. Glitch resolution in progress. The loading signs start to flash. As the symbols fade, his vision clears and the screen completely vanishes. He softly calls out to ask if anyone is still there, staring hard at the empty air. But there is only silence. The supportive floating words are truly gone. A sudden wave of emptiness hits him. Sure, most of them defended the toxic ex, but a few actually cared.
Honestly, he is going to miss them. He slumps onto the sofa, completely alone. He finally snaps out of it. If it's gone, it's gone. Their sudden arrival made zero sense, and their departure was just as insanely fast. But their parting words actually hit the spot, giving him total freedom over his choices.
Nobody else has the right to control him. Only he can rule his own life.
With that realization, all the suffocating weight in his chest completely vanishes. He thoroughly cleans up his room, waiting until 9:30 p.m. to drive out to the airport. The open road ahead is wide and brightly lit. Feeling the cool night breeze rushing in through the window, his mood is suddenly amazing. While waiting for his buddy Wei Huaizhou at the airport, he suddenly remembers one key detail. Didn't that weird system administrator promise him a reward? Where is it? Right as he starts wondering. Wei Haoshan's voice suddenly calls out to him from behind. Wenqing turns around immediately. He sees his friend walking over with a suitcase, looking absolutely hyped to share some news. Asking if Wenqing knows what insane drama went down with the Liu family while he was away?
To be honest, just hearing anything related to Liu Ruyan makes him instantly lose his patience.
Wenqing is clearly not interested, but Wei Haoshan is way too hyped up to stop.
Apparently, Liu Ruyan's overbearing mother somehow found out about the pregnancy.
She went absolutely wild and blew up Liu Ruyan's phone,
demanding that Liu Ruyan must keep her child with Gu Huaizhou no matter what.
Wei Haoshan heard she threw a massive tantrum, using every cheap manipulation trick imaginable.
Nobody knows what Liu Ruyan said to finally quiet her down, but Wenqing just chuckles.
With his ex-mother-in-law's notoriously overbearing personality, what choice did Liu Ruyan really have? Giving in was her only option. As for Gu Huaizhou, if he wants to leverage that baby for clout, he'll obviously force her to keep it. But none of this is his business anymore. He grabs the suitcase from Wei Haoshan and heads out. But as they are driving back home together, a sudden call breaks the silence. Liu Ruyan calls him up, demanding they find some time tomorrow to have a serious talk. He raises an eyebrow. Okay, if this is his actual reward, the author is cooking. Honestly, he absolutely loves this reward. After a grueling 20-hour long-haul flight, Wei Haoshan is so exhausted he crashes immediately after showering. But before passing out, he still tries, telling Wenqing to wake him up early because he wants to help deal with Liu Ruyan. Seeing his friend half asleep but still looking out for him, a wave of warmth fills his chest. After nodding in agreement, they sleep through the quiet night, heading straight to the office next morning. The office has a comfortable lounge area, so he checks in with HR first, leaving Wei Haoshan there to rest. But right as he steps into the main workspace, catching the sound of Liu Ruyan arguing in the hallway, he hears her shouting. She screams at Gu Huaizhou, accusing him of leaking her pregnancy and calling him completely disgusting. Ranting about how he got her drunk that night, she suddenly stops mid-sentence. Spotting Wenqing standing nearby, her voice cuts off instantly. Liu Ruyan abruptly hangs up the phone and starts walking straight toward him. Wenqing just looks at her coldly, stating that they are currently on the clock. Any personal drama will have to wait until lunch. Seeing his total indifference, she is forced to swallow her words, but Wenqing can easily guess the truth. Her mother's overbearing demands must be driving her absolutely crazy, and honestly, she totally deserves it. When he finally gets back to his desk, he notices a fresh bouquet of sunflowers. 3 bright blooms are intertwined, radiating a sudden burst of vibrant, hopeful energy. Pei Wenqing glances over at Chu Beishu, catching her looking right back at him. This time, she smiles warmly. Asking if he likes her gift, she waits as Wenqing just stares for 2 seconds. He nods, calling it pretty. But he adds that it would look better coming from someone he actually liked. That one cold line completely wipes the smile off Chu Beishu's face. Despite being 6 years younger, the rice balls from before. And these sunflowers now, she should definitely get the hint. He has zero interest in her. Any crush she has is probably superficial anyway, and Wenqing never believes in love at first sight. Plus, he has zero energy to jump into a new relationship right after his marriage ended. Moving on so quickly is impossible, and Chu Beishu just stares at him for a long time. Her eyes look a bit red as she finally whispers that she understands. She immediately turns away to stare at her screen. He can't read her face anymore, but his screen soon lights up.
A text pops up from her, apologizing for the uninvited gift.
Wenqing hesitates, staring at the screen. Ultimately, he decides not to reply, believing some boundaries are best left uncrossed. Noon rolls around, and of course, his cheating wife Liu Ruyan is already waiting in the hallway. When he steps out, she is standing in the smoking area. She is holding a cigarette, puffing away like a pro. Spotting him, she snuffs it out and tells him to let's go, but he just texts Wei Haoxuan.
He tells her to hold on because he is waiting for someone else.
Liu Ruyan frowns, but stays quiet. But when Wei Haoxuan arrives, her face completely drops as she calls out his name. She demands to know why he invited an outsider to handle their personal business. He calmly replies that this is his divorce lawyer. That completely shuts her up, and she lets out a bitter laugh. She realizes he never once wavered on the divorce. He reminds her that their marriage ended the second he left those signed papers behind, telling her she's the only one dragging this out. Humiliated, she turns on her heel and walks away. Soon, they are sitting inside a quiet private room at a Chinese restaurant. She watches anxiously as the lawyer smoothly pulls out the divorce papers. Unable to take the tension, she blurts out that she finally agrees to the divorce. She wants to keep the house, offering to divide a portion of their shared marital assets instead. Then, she takes a deep breath. Her pregnancy with Gu Huaizhou was allegedly an accident after being secretly drugged. Basically, she claims she was completely out of it. Wenqing just stares at her for a few silent seconds before speaking her name. He dryly points out that she was only drunk, making her freeze in her tracks. With that, he slides the divorce agreement right in front of her.
Sign it, he says. We are done.
She hesitates, then slowly picks up the pen. Our boy signs his name on the divorce papers, waiting for her to finish. With one final stroke of the pen, he seals the deal at the bottom. Suddenly, Liu Ruyan croaks out in a raspy voice that this is probably the end.
She says it's the last time their names will be together, but our boy just snaps the folder shut.
Then he stands straight up and walks out of the restaurant with Wei Haoxuan. Honestly, having a final farewell meal with a toxic ex? No shot he could stomach that. Once they get outside, Wei Haoxuan grins and says, "Man, I thought this would be a massive tug of war, but that ended so smoothly." Holding the divorce papers, our boy just smiles. See, Liu Ruyan was always dependent on her mother. She could never ignore her mother's wishes, and her mom honestly always hated our MC anyway. He's actually grateful for the assist. Right after signing the papers, Liu Ruyan rushes out. She immediately heads back to the country, and when he goes to the office the next day, she's nowhere to be found. Calculating the days, his 1-month contract is almost up anyway. Our boy doesn't overthink it, just peacefully focuses on his own grind. 3 months fly by in the blink of an eye. Zhu Benchu finally seems to let go of his unrequited feelings, and they are back to normal. Even Zhang Yutao bags a gorgeous blonde foreign girlfriend and is living his best life. They're super sweet, while our MC finally receives his official divorce certificate in the mail. On top of that, his stellar performance gets him officially promoted to branch manager. Talk about an absolute glow-up. His salary is literally 4 times what it used to be. He is loving this peaceful new life. But then, a massive storm hits. Someone drops an anonymous presentation in the company group chat titled "A Guide to Cheating Executives." Intrigued by the drama, our boy clicks it open to see what's going on. But when he scrolls to the very first screenshot, his jaw completely drops. The stars of this massive scandal are none other than Liu Ruyan and Gu Huaizhou. Their wildest, most explicit messages are fully exposed, though our MC's name is kept anonymous. Every single lie she ever told about working late to sneak off with him is laid bare. Even though his avatar is blurred and no one can prove his identity, the office definitely remembers he was married to her, and the whispers start instantly.
All those awkward stares make him pretty uncomfortable, but Zhang Yutao immediately steps in.
He barks at everyone. Quit staring at our manager. Exposing cheaters is a civic duty. Everyone quickly looks away, and our boy throws Zhang Yutao a grateful nod for the backup. Honestly, he doesn't even care anymore, but this file is way too juicy to stay local. He checks online, and yep, this massive drama is already viral across the entire internet. Seeing the PR disaster is blowing up everywhere, the corporate higher-ups immediately react. They drop an official notice firing Liu Ruyan, stating they have zero tolerance for toxic employees.
This absolute shutdown of her career actually surprises our boy quite a bit. After all, someone with her high-level tech expertise is usually extremely hard to replace. Curious, he shoots a quick text to Chu Ben-shu to find out what really went down. Chu Ben-shu replies instantly, asking if he remembers that business evaluation she did earlier. While the terrible advice she submitted caused the company to suffer some pretty massive losses. The board was already furious, and guess who leaked the presentation? It was Gu Huaizhou himself! He basically decided that if she was going to ruin his life, he'd drag her down too. With both scandals hitting at once, the company wasted zero time kicking her out. That total time bomb! It's only been 3 months since their divorce was finalized.
You have got to wonder, what on earth did Liu Ruyan do to make Gu Huaizhou this ruthless?
But for our main character, those chaotic thoughts only flash through her mind for a brief second.
She does not overthink it, and just like that, another 2 years quickly fly by.
The branch office finally completely stabilizes, meaning she finally gets some well-deserved vacation time to head home.
Eager to get back, she packs her bags and rushes home, where her parents are already waiting.
The whole family heads back home in high spirits, but everything changes during a quick break at the last rest stop.
Our main character actually runs into Liu Ruyan again, but she looks completely different from 2 years ago.
This time, she looks absolutely miserable and downcast, clutching a little boy tightly in her arms. Gu Huaizhou stands right next to her with a freezing gaze, telling her to stop making such a pathetic face. He snaps that she is ruining the kid, but Liu Ruyan just holds her child and speaks quietly. She tells Gu Huaizhou to back off because she has no energy left to argue with him. Gu Huaizhou just mocks her, laughing that of course she has to give her precious son a happy childhood. But then he sneers. Do you actually think you deserve it? You only agreed to marry me. Simply because of this kid, and because your mother was pressuring you so incredibly hard. He straight up calls Liu Ruyan a spineless coward. Honestly, we still have no idea what went down. To make Gu Huaizhou's personality change this drastically, or why on earth Liu Ruyan is enduring all this. But none of this is our main character's business anymore.